You're listening to the Vacation Rental Key with T&T, the podcast for vacation rental managers by vacation rental managers. I'm Tim Cafferty, and I manage two companies, one in Virginia and one in North Carolina. And I'm one of the two T's.
And I'm the other T, Tiffany Edwards, born and raised in the vacation rental business. I help manage our family businesses from Key West all the way to Kauai.
In the next 30 minutes, we're going to give you our keys to success in the vacation rental business. I'm Tim.
And I'm Tiffany, and we've got a really exciting recording session for you today.
We do. We are well into 26 now and want to give a special shout out to one of our special listeners, the Kennedy, who reached out to us and had some comments about the predictions episode for 2026. She wanted to make sure she wrote them all down so she can be sure to be on top of things. And let's just say, don't hold us responsible for our predictions involving the Fiesta Bowl. We didn't do so well there, Tiffany.
So well there. It was a big surprise. I'm glad that Tim, who's joining us today, did not take any of our suggestion or my suggestion on who would win the Fiesta Bowl. But y'all, there's still time. I feel very confident in some of our other predictions. I feel like Taylor Swift is definitely going to have a baby this year. Like, let's just hold out to see what else I've got coming down the pipeline.
We welcome Tim Rosolio to our podcast today. Speaking of the VRBO Fiesta Bowl, he's Mr. VRBO to us, the Vice President of Vacation Rental Partner Success. Welcome, Tim.
Always great to be here. Good to see you again after just a few weeks. And, for what it's worth, one of you did have a pretty good prediction about the Fiesta Bowl. We're in Arizona, when in Rome, get the BetMGM app open, and Cafferty knows his sport. So I sort of said, like, who are we going to place a wager on? And he's like, probably Miami. And, Tiffany's husband, Ben, is an Ole Miss alum. So, the beautiful thing is Ben's going to find out that I bet on Miami when he listens to this podcast. So I left a little bit richer. Tim was right. Ben was wrong, but we still love you, Ben.
I might clip out that Ben is wrong and save that for myself for future. But my team is Georgia, and so I had picked Georgia to win overall, but they didn't quite make it out of New Orleans. So the Edwards household were big losers this year.
It was an exciting game to watch. We had 28 points scored in the fourth quarter, so I missed the under on the bet, but Miami did cover. So they're playing tonight, as a matter of fact. We've dropped this podcast on the day of the national championship, so we'll see how that comes out. But glad to have you here, Tim. Talk to us about what the Vice President of Vacation Rental Partner Success does at
Yeah, so the way I think of it is if VRBO or Expedia or our B2B network are stores, I stock the shelves with amazing vacation rental homes. And that means trying to build a better product offering and better marketing offering for our individual owners and professional property managers. And, probably the part of my job that I am most proud of is I have a team of about 250 global account managers whose whole job is to help professional property managers be successful. That's a team that I think you guys have had an opportunity to work with, and we're hopefully have seen some of the insights and seen some of the results of those insights. We know it's really valuable.
And I know that you're on the road a lot, but one of the things that has been most helpful from a client or partner perspective is that not only do you attend a lot of these conferences where most of us are trying to learn more, educate, and continue to professionalize our industry, but I feel like you are very strong about asking the right questions and continuing to go back to your team. And we've talked in previous podcasts about the evolution of VRBO and some of the changes that have been made in the last couple of years. But I do think that you are very strong in asking some of the property managers throughout the world and bringing that feedback back to your team for a better product. So I appreciate the time that you spend there.
Yeah, I mean, we recognize that, listen, the travelers are our customers, but the partners are our customers too, because what we recognize is there's only so many houses on the beach. There's only so many houses on the ski mountain. And then within that, this is the really important part, there's only so many people that actually know how to deliver the goods in terms of hospitality. And it's my view that the next wave of this vacation rental category. It's all about quality, which is perfect for a professional acting partner. Sometimes that's a professional property manager. Other times it is an individual owner, but the professional property managers definitely have the playbooks to deliver the goods.
So I like to play a game with my wife called Where in the World is Tim Ursolio? I happen to have a line to you and I'll text, Where are you today? Is I think the first thing I say, wherever it is. How much
Uh,
do you travel?
it's probably about a third of the time, but during the fall, it's sort of all the time because I see you guys at VRMA, but then you have to remember there's the VRMA of Australia and a couple of the VRMAs of Europe, and we have business there. We aspire to have an even growing business there. And there's the property managers there that, I want to get the same feedback from, and I want to support my team, right? I want to make sure that I'm hearing from my team and make sure I understand the nuances of what's going on in that market because globally, vacation rentals, it's not the same everywhere. There's certainly different nuances.
No, I absolutely agree with that. And I think the only commonality for a lot of us is guest expectations and delivering on those guest expectations. But in terms of how you produce those and regulations and even the different markets are extremely varied. And, I know you are on the road a lot, but one of the best times, and I think one of the ways that Tim and I have gotten to know you is through these Fiesta Bowls. And we have had such, I will say, a blessing to be invited year after year. And this year being one of the greatest, not because my team was there, but because, having a playoff game and it was just such a great game. But, we also have really great memories from that as well. But talk to us a little bit because I think a lot of us as property managers rely a lot on, and I don't even say property managers, but hosts as well, rely a lot on the OTAs to carry the load as a marketing perspective. Talk to us a little bit about VRBO's utilizing the Fiesta Bowl and spending money there for a marketing perspective, how they came to that decision and the impact there.
Yeah, so I think before you talk specifically about Fiesta, it talks about our affiliation with college football. And the affiliation with college football, I would say, came together through a very convenient demographic and geographic issue. And then it also came together with a good timing. So the demographic and geographic issue is think of where is sort of the hotbed of vacation rentals in America and like maybe globally is the southeast of the United States. It's where all the great beach and mountain houses are. And it's where a lot of the travelers that like to go to them are. And there is a clear synergy between those travelers and people that love college football with sort of all of the SEC pride that comes from that region of the country. That was the first thing that really fit well. And the second thing was timing. So if we are marketing heavily throughout the fall, that works really well for people that are trying to book holiday travel and people that right after they get home from the holidays, everybody knows that January is the hot month where people are booking spring break and their summer vacations. So the timing and the demographic made a lot of sense for us. Now, the Fiesta, one thing that was great about the Fiesta is Phoenix and Scottsdale is also a major market for us. So that also tied together really well. And what gets me excited, I think we talked a little bit about the game, is you actually, if you sustain these partnerships, you can really do a good job of sticking your brand with that bowl game that people watch every year. I mean, growing up, it was the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, and I still remember that. And as long as we sustain it, I think people will think about the game and our brand together, and hopefully they'll come home and book a vacation rental. And, hey, listen, we're a public company. I can't give you numbers, but I can assure you that ever since that game, things have looked really good.
Fantastic. So speaking of that game, I believe the agreement was over a 5-year period. And I remember at the beginning, maybe the goals were a little different. So talk through the changes that you've seen and like the themes and how the audience has progressed over that time and what you're looking to get out of it. And has it
Yep.
met those expectations?
Yeah, I think there's a few ways I'd look at it. So first of all, in terms of eyeballs and audience, there were 17 million people that watched the game this year. Very captive, probably a lot of people in the Southeast. That's a good thing for us, good thing for all of us. And as much as maybe for Ben Edwards, my heart was saying, I hope Ole Miss wins, and my wallet was saying, I hope Miami wins. What I really want is a competitive game for 4 quarters so that those 17 million people continue to watch and start seeing our brand. I mean, I was so excited that this year was such a competitive game. It's actually the most competitive Fiesta that we've had since we've been part of it. It was one of the best college football games of the year. Then in terms of messaging, I mean, there's all sorts of branding and commercials, and I believe, even messaging from our CEO, Ariane, throughout the game. And what we say has evolved over time with whatever our strategic priorities are. For the first few, that was when we were rolling out our loyalty program across Expedia, VRBO, and Hotels.com. And a lot of the messaging was around One Key, the loyalty program. And then we were going through this phase where we were really trying to push the notion of whole home. And I think we've evolved with that because we recognize, as much as I'd like to position some of our competitors as not whole home or an air mattress in a room, we recognize that they perhaps have whole homes too. And as such, I think that's where we're starting to see the continued evolution towards yes, it's a whole home. Of course it's a whole home, but it's actually more about quality and consistency, because all the research that we've done over the past year indicates that that's the thing that vacation rental travelers are nervous about. Is it going to look like the pictures? Am I going to get canceled on? Is anything goes wrong in the house, there's someone around to take care of me? And I think if you look at the latest VRBO marketing, which will come out quite soon, everything's going to focus on quality, because I think what we all recognize is there's tons of supply on the market, and quality is going to be what wins this.
We have a previous episode with Larry where we dove a little bit more into what quality is from a VRBO perspective and how you guys are quantifying that and how you're making changes. But I will say the evolution of a whole home, really appreciate it for the branding, because it's 17 million people who are watching that, but it's the VRBO Fiesta Bowl constantly talked about leading up to the playoffs. So many touch points leading off to the playoffs, whether people watch that game or not. But the evolution of a whole home, I think it continues to confirm to consumers that you're getting a quality, but also a professional service where someone does answer. It's not someone's hobby. And in our last video, Tim Cafferty was wearing a hat that said, this isn't just a hobby. I do feel very strongly that that's what you're continuing to message. And that's one thing that our marketing budgets we can't reach those audience, but you're continuing to push that out there for us, which is really great. But I do want to touch on the Nick Saban commercials and how successful those are. So if you could kind of, for anyone who may be listening to this who doesn't watch TV at all, because it's the only way you wouldn't have seen this commercial, if you could explain a little bit about what that commercial is, and Nick Saban, the former coach of the College of Alabama's football program.
Yeah, so Nick Saban is one of the greatest college football coaches of all time, and he's sort of known for his very direct and gruff attitude. Probably wouldn't be the best guy in the hospitality business, let's put it that way. And the idea is we positioned him as the host from hell. So family comes up to beautiful 10 out of 10 vacation home on the Outer Banks or in Savannah, Georgia. And the travelers are there, and Nick Saban's on the porch and says, check-in's at 3:00. And the guests are like, oh, well, 55. And Nick Saban says, I know. And those sorts of things continue. He's going through the book and saying, you got to take out the trash, and you're not allowed to have fun. You're not only allowed to shower for 10 minutes. I mean, it's all the stuff that we are trying to get ourselves away from in the positioning of the category and some of the fears that exist about the category. So again, good time with college football, good time with a coach that had lots of popularity and affinity with the Southeast, and well positioned for our messaging at the time. And it was funny, right? And funny's then, because the reality is we were going through replatforming and we weren't building a lot of new features. And funny was a good funny was a good way to do marketing, still position ourselves as a brand during that period of time. But I think what you're going to see coming up next is more about some of the new things that are available now that we're building product at a pace that we never have before.
I know from my point, when the commercials come on, there's silence in the house. Deb's seen the commercial 85 times, but she still laughs out loud every time she sees it. And in fact, she accompanied me to the Fiesta Bowl, and the first question she asked was, "Do you think we'll get to meet Nick Saban?" So
think we,
everybody,
I think we've investigated that concept, and I think that Nick Saban has an understanding of what is the price point that it would take for him to show up to said event. Yeah.
Well, it's funny and it's memorable, but I think that you guys, and we've had offline conversations just from even a regulatory perspective. You collect so much data, but your marketing team is so strong to find those points of what are the guest fears and how do we showcase that in a whole home? And then to have someone like Nick Saban, so we're connecting it to a college football, because whether you're SEC or you're all over, the country, people know who he is within the college football realm. So I think it's a really great job of keeping it memorable and on point. Fiesta Bowl and college football is one, but you as VRBO also are sponsors of many other sporting or other events. And if you could share on some of those, because obviously it's a global initiative.
Yeah. I think one thing that's great about college football that we've sort of created this affinity with is the fact that it's something that you like to do with family or groups. Like I watch college football with my dad. I watch college football with all of my friends that I went to University of Texas with and used to watch games with. Those are also the people that perhaps I would travel and stay in vacation rentals with. So there's a nice fit there. There's a tribal nature of college football. Now, honestly, when I go to Europe and I explain the concept of college football and they're like, "Excuse me? So the university has a team?" It's actually it's a weird conversation. But their equivalent of the tribal thing is soccer, or what they call football. So that is what led to some of our Liverpool sponsorship that we have for Expedia Group. We know that people like to travel together.
so as we look forward to successful future with VRBO, what does it look like? Are we still going to do bowl games? Can you let us in on any future initiatives?
The answer is I don't know, because it's my understanding that it is still under discussion, and we don't need to give anybody any leverage in a negotiation, but we are proud of the results that we've seen with this, and I think we'll see.
Okay, we have a invitational golf tournament here called the Cafferty Cup that we're looking for a sponsor if Expedia Group wants to expand to that realm.
You know what, Tim? I don't know if the sponsorship's in the cards, but if you're inviting some of the guys in the industry that were there last year, Tim might pay for dinner. There might be a dinner on VRBO.
I'd also like to note that I don't really play golf well. I've never been invited to this Cafferty Cup, but I'm glad to hear about this on a recording now that it's out there and I'm learning with everyone else. So thank you.
Oh yeah. Oh, Tim's brother's there. Yeah, it's a good hodgepodge of good guys. It's definitely a no jerks allowed type crowd.
Yeah. As he
Fantastic.
rolls. I do want to move away a little bit from a higher level of putting money in, and doing a large event sponsorship, which, we all benefit from. But in terms of what we can do as managers in our marketing, are there specific themes that we should be piggybacking on, to help us that VRBO has seen through their data? I think last year I had heard leaning into the JOMO, joy of missing out. So that was a really big theme. Are you seeing anything else that we should be leaning into our marketing?
Yeah, I think there's a variety of different opportunities for property managers. The joy of missing out, really trying to, I think there's a lot of trends surrounding people that like to go on vacation and maybe just read a book. Like the idea of people that are really trying to disconnect and get away. What I would say in terms of shameless plug for how you're going to drive more bookings. As we build features, there's more stuff for you to take advantage of. Launch the promotion suite. And what we're finding is that people that are participating in those promotions are converting 40% better than those that do not. And then later this year, we will be coming out with sponsored listings. And that will be a lever for you to actually get additional visibility. And there's a variety of use cases that you could think about for how you would want to do that. Maybe you would do it for off-season. Maybe you would do that for some of your new properties in your program to make sure they get off to a fast start. Maybe if there was someone that you had that you were concerned was going to churn, perhaps you could use it there. Like, there's always asked me, not only how do I produce, but they're like, how do I make sure that there's more eyeballs on my property? And I've often been left with saying an answer of like, algorithm. But now we're getting back to the opportunity of paid for play. And for those of you that have worked with us for a long time, you may recall that even like that, it used to be, that's how the website worked. There were gold subscriptions and platinum subscriptions and other ways that you could very clearly buy visibility. And that should be coming later this year.
And I'll say for us, we have 3 companies with the promos. It's been extremely successful. So if anyone is listening and they're not doing some of these promos, we are on Escapia personally for our software. And so it's been a seamless integration, but those have been extremely successful. You should look into those.
My account management team can help you navigate what to do and when. I think that right now it's going to be all about the early booking promotions. As you approach summer, it's going to be about the last minute promotions. And then it's also worth noting that they're not required to be evergreen. Like, some of you are probably thinking like, I don't want to discount 4th of July. Well, you don't have to. Do it for when you think that you need more incrementality in terms of bookings from OTAs.
Okay. Good info as always, Tim. And I see as you are getting prepared for the next segment here, it is time for rapid fire. And you have a special item that you're wearing there.
I got to support the program. What can I say?
We love it. We know you rarely ever take it off, so we appreciate you putting it.
I typically sleep with it, and I took it off for the podcast. Yeah.
So those of you who are listening in, you need to go to our YouTube channel to see the merch that Tim is wearing right now. Tim Rizzolio, not Tim Cafferty.
Oh, I don't.
And you can definitely reach back into us. We have a few more of those available, but I think it's definitely time for our rapid fire.
Okay. Start the clock. All right, Tim, I know you are a avid golfer. I have witnessed one of your 5 holes in one. I'm interested to what you aspire to next in your golfing life.
You know what, Tim? I mean, here's the deal. You're a lot better golfer than me. You haven't had one since you were 13. What I aspire for you to get another.
Please listen.
What a giver. So mine actually goes into what is your favorite Fiesta Bowl moment that you are allowed to say broadcasting?
Yeah, that's something, Now, on the allowed to say note, I guess we're not allowed to bring up Miller Hawkins at any point, right? Yeah.
Correct.
So, I mean, honestly, it was so, and I can even send the picture to you guys so you can post it. This group here, Tim, Tiffany, me, and a number of other partners, were on the field close to the end zone where the incomplete pass and or pass interference occurred on the last play of the game of this year's Fiesta. And we were right there. Like, there's picture, if you zoom out from the telecast, you can see us, which is really pretty cool. So that's probably up there. And then, there's clearly Miller Hawkins things that cannot be shared on this podcast.
For anyone who may not know him, he is the party of our industry, to say it lightly.
Yeah.
And bring so much joy for everyone who's around him. And I have shared the video to so many people because I wore red pants. And so you could see my red pants over in the corner in that end zone. And I remember when that happened, I was so upset I didn't have my phone out to video it so that we could have full access of that pass interference, because that's how what I believe transpired.
You should have brought me a flag. You should have thrown the flag.
Well, the security code
Throw the flag on the field.
Well, security made me go back several times, so I was pushing my luck already just being over there.
I can attest to that. Okay, Tim, you are a season ticket holder for the Texas Longhorns and for the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
If you had only one to choose, which season tickets would you keep?
Boy, that's tough. I mean, probably just logistically, the Longhorn ones would be that would be an easier one to use. But, I go to most of the Ravens games. I've lived in Texas for a long time, but I'm from Baltimore. I happen to live in Austin, but I'm from Baltimore. So it's a tough one to say. But, I don't know. We'll see. We'll still hear the Ravens higher.
So one thing that I ask everyone, what is one way that you use AI every day that you could never replace, or your favorite way of using it?
Yeah. I think that I actually do a lot of AI to review basically traveler perspectives on what's happening on VRBO. What are travelers saying? Because going through Reddit, sometimes would make my head want to explode. I want a summarized view of what are the travelers saying, because that helps us give us insights on how we coach partners.
That's great advice for any of us listening in.
Yeah. And it might be interesting to understand for your direct traffic that also comes from your key corridors and origins, right? They're pretty known. I mean, the Outer Banks traveler or the Savannah traveler or the Monterey traveler, you have a pretty good idea where they're coming from. Try to get a flavor of what are they into? What are they gonna find attractive?
Okay, last one from me. A skill or talent that you do not currently possess that you wish you had.
Boy, that's a good one. Can't dance, and that would...
Can you dance drunk, though? That's really what matters.
I try my best.
Because I'm a really good drinking and dancer.
I've seen it. Yeah.
All right, my last one, what's your favorite vacation spot?
That's not fair.
One of our locations? Is that what you're trying to say?
Outer Banks, Savannah, or Monterey, or wherever else Weatherby Consulting is. Yeah. What I really enjoy is I like going on golf trips with my friends and family. I love Kohler, Wisconsin. I love Kiowa Island. I love Pinehurst. I love all of those. And there's a whole laundry list of other ones that I really want to do. Never done Bandon Dunes. That's up near the top.
And I think that goes back to everything with our guests. There's a component that is about the place, but it ultimately goes back to the experience and who you're with. And so that's a great one to end on.
Fantastic. That's Tim Ursolio. He's the Vice President of the Vacation Rental Partner Success at Expedia Group, or as we love to reference it, VRBO, and home of the VRBO Fiesta Bowl for at least one more year. We're looking forward to that game again next year. Thanks, Tim, as always. Appreciate you, buddy.
Thanks for having me on. As friends, we'll be in touch, and as my partners, you know where to find me if you need anything.
We'll be back in less than 2 weeks with another riveting episode. We've got some good stuff stored in here for you. We can't wait to bring it to you. Thanks, Tiff. See you next time.
Bye, guys.
So long, everybody.